Now I invite Mr. Priyanshu Sharma to have a talk on standards initiatives in developing IoT M2M. Convener Priyanshu Sharma, Convener LIT 27, LITD 28 BIS. Priyanshu Sharma is responsible for bringing out Indian standards in the domain of Internet of Things and digital twin, e-learning, e-governance, data management system, document processing and interchange, and JPEG, MPEG codecs as a member secretary of LITD 27, LITD 19, LITD 25, LITD 15, and LITD 23 sectional committees under the Electronics and IT Divisional Council of BIS. National Standards Body of India under the aegis of Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Slight correction, I am the member secretary for these two committees, like LIT 2728, not the convener. So, as we are all aware, BIS is the National Standards Body of India, which is driven by the BIS Act 2016. BIS also represents India in various technical committees of ISO, and IEC, as well as JTC1, which is the joint technical effort of ISO and IEC. As of today, India is a participating member in 53 technical committees of ISO IC, and we are observer members in around 17 of them. And BS, as a participating member, we have the mandate of nominating experts in the various technical committees, as well as regularly attending the meetings and contributing to the work. On an average, around 60 to 70 plenary meetings are being attended by Indian delegation every year. So this is about the core activities of BIS, which is standards formulation, conformity assessment, testing, and training. Currently, we have 15 divisions, divisional councils basically, and around 400 technical committees which are working on specific sectors, and around roughly 22,000 standards. One of them is Electronics and IT Divisional Council, which I'm representing today. We have 34 sectional committees on different areas of electronics and IT, and we have published around 1750 plus standards. So these are the stakeholders in all of our committees: government, regulators, industry bodies, associations, academia, consumer groups, and R&D and academia. This is a brief overview of the how standards are published in like BIS committee process, which is a proposal. Then the working draft is being prepared, it is taken to the committee, then it is taken for approval in a wide circulation to the general public, and then it is notified in the Indian Gazette. And this is the Standards National Action Plan, areas identified in the ICT sector specifically by BIS for the next 5-year block. So as you can clearly see, IoT, smart cities, ICT, cybersecurity, data privacy, these are very, very relevant areas to IoT and M2M. So these are the two sectional committees which are of relevance to IoT. One is LIT 27, which is on IoT and related technologies, where and I'm the member secretary, and it is being chaired by Sushil Kumar sir. And the other one is LIT 28, which is on smart infrastructure. And these are also mirroring the work of ISO IC, JTC1, SC41, IoT and digital twin, and LIT 28 mirrors the work of IC system committee on smart cities, as well as working group 11. So the scope of LIT 27 is formulation of Indian standards in the area of Internet of Things, digital twin, and related technologies, including the sensor networks. Around 35 plus members are there in the current composition. And currently we have 5 working groups and 1 panel, which is on IoT architecture, interoperability, applications, digital twin, and one is on maritime and underwater IoT. And recently we had another panel on this IoT for stress management, good health and well-being. So currently related to IoT, we have published 2 Indian standards. One is on IoT use cases, which is harmonized with the ISO version of it. The second one is IoT system reference architecture, IS 18001 part 1, and around 18 drafts of OCF specifications which are interoperable with 1M2M as well as MQTT. So they are currently under development, and they have completed the wide circulation stage. So most probably in the next couple of months they will be published as Indian standards. This is the scope of ISO IC JTC1 SE41, which is standardization in the area of IoT digital twin. And it has various working groups, advisory groups, and ad hoc groups where we are regularly participating and contributing. Experts from LIT 27 committee and its groups are very active in SE41. So SE41 has published 41 standards and around 21 ongoing projects are there. And we regularly keep nominating experts based on their interest, expertise, and as per the bandwidth. So in SE41, we are currently leading two projects. One is on underwater network management system networking. So this was proposed by India and it is currently at the committee draft stage. And recently it completed the CD ballot stage. So most probably it will be going to the draft international standard stage. And it basically gives a detailed description of the interworking between the UNMS components on the surface to terrestrial, terrestrial to underwater, and within the underwater components. Second one is IoT for stress management, good health, and well-being. So in the recently held plenary meeting of SE41 in Berlin, so this project was proposed by India and it garnered wide appreciation from all the members. And SE41 approved the project for an NP submission from Indian National Body. So this is the current structure and scope of LITD 28, which is on smart cities and smart infrastructure. So the scope is standardization in the field of smart cities, the electrotechnical as well as the ICT aspects. And it also mirrors the work of IEC System Committee, Smart Cities and Working Group 11. So currently there are 8 panels under LIT 27. One of them, which might be of like smart cities, anyway, it comes as an application of IoT. So panel 9, IoT systems RA. It is also being led by Arindam Bhattacharya sir. So this is a list of standards which have been published by LIT 28 committee of BIS. All majority of these are indigenous standards which were formulated and they have also been notified by MoUA in the smart cities project. So this is specific IoT system reference architecture which describes the RA and comprises the concept model, deployment models, reference models, and they elaborate the interactions between various entities, the digital and the non-digital ones. So assistance has been derived from the ISO standard, ITUT standards, and TEC technical reports. And this is the current ongoing standardization work in working group 3 of SE41, which is on IoT foundational standards. So IoT and digital twin vocabulary and reference architecture, they are currently under revision, and trustworthiness principles is also being revised considering the recent change in the technology. And another one is it's the first edition is being developed on generic trust anchor architecture application API for industrial IoT devices. In working group 4, which is on IoT interoperability, so we have around 6 or 7 projects ongoing where in 3 of them we have an Indian expert is actively contributing, and we regularly provide our comments and inputs on these projects. Similarly, in working group 5, there are 3 ongoing projects. One of them is on evaluation indicator for IoT systems. One is on functional requirements to determine the status of self quarantine using IoT data interfaces, and one is autonomous IoT object identification. So in all of these, one or more Indian experts are participating and they are a part of the development process, and we regularly send our inputs. Next one is working group 6, which is on digital twin. So here I will have to accept we are currently seeking expertise on the digital twin part. And so we haven't nominated any specific experts, but we try to send our comments and inputs as far as possible. Next one is working group 7, which is on maritime underwater IoT and digital twin applications. So one of them, which I have already informed, UNMS interworking, it is being led by India. The second one, which is addressing interoperability between heterogeneous UFSAN based on underwater delay and disruption tolerant network. Here, Indian expert is a co-editor in the project, so it is also a leadership role. And the third one is addressing interoperability between IPv6 based network, and we have nominated an expert and they are regularly participating in the development activity. So these are the preliminary work items. Preliminary work items, you can call it, they were not mature enough to be submitted as a draft. So the case study and the study and R&D is being done on these items, but they will subsequently, maybe in the next couple of years, they will be coming up as potential projects. And this is a list of standards which have been published by. So it varies, like the initial part is from sensor network testing framework and sensor network reference architecture, the sensor network application interface, IoT vocabulary, interoperability, which is 21823 series, use cases. And we have a lot of work going on in the maritime underwater IoT in this SE41. So yeah, thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Priyanshu, for giving the overview of the work happening at BIS, which is kind of mirroring the work being done at IC ISO. And I noted that a lot of experts from India who are 1M2M experts also are already engaged in this activity. Are you aware of any recognition or interest on 1M2M at IC level, IC ISO level? Or any possibilities of some work that can be carried there?
At the ISO IC level, I think we have external liaisons from various IoT which are working on this, international bodies which are working on IoT related standards. Suppose like from France we have AIoTI, and so I am not really sure if 1M2M is a part of, in SE41 it is not, but for the systems committee I'll have to get back to you maybe later.
Okay.
And if any collaboration kind of work is being done, so I can get back to you.
Okay. Thank you.
So thank you very much.
Excuse.
You have mentioned that working group 3 of IoT is dealing with trustworthiness principles. Can you please elaborate what is included in that?
Ma'am, I am not really in touch with that, but I can share the draft and all, or I can get back to you maybe after the meeting, because I'm more in touch with the, like, there are 5 working groups and 1 panel. So I could brief you about maybe working group 5, 7 or panel 1. So regarding working group 3, I'll share the draft with you maybe after the meeting, if that works. Yeah, you can join that also.
Thank you, sir. May I request Mr. Sushil Kumar, Deputy Director General, IoT, Internet of Things, TEC Government of India, to kindly felicitate Mr. Priyanshu Sharma with a small momentum as a token of our appreciation. Now we will start with other session on 1M2M testing and certification.